The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Hello again, Lobo fans, and welcome on set. It's another edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with head football coach at UNM, Danny Gonzales. Coach G, a trip to Fresno State, 34-7 loss. Your quarterback, Isaiah Chavez, goes in with a sprained ankle. He's able to play the entire game. The offense, in terms of what you hoped it might look like and what you thought it could get done, what did you think of the performance?
Struggled, obviously. We only put up 7 points. It was a good drive in the third quarter. We had a chance to get back in the game, but we gave the ball away. I talked about it all week. We can't turn it over. And on the second play of the game, we throw an interception. And it was a throw that he shouldn't have taken. He should have gotten rid of the ball or tuck it and get as many yards as he can. And then there was times you could tell that he was hobbled up with the ankle a little bit. A couple of times he wasn't able to get to the pitch key before he pitched it, so that guy was able to get into pursuit and make a tackle. So we've got to get him healthier, obviously, and he's got to play a little bit better.
Well, one of the bright spots in the game clearly was your tailback, Aaron Dumas, his first career 100-yard rush game. He looked amazing. He
did. He had 143 yards. I mean, he's got the most rushing yards for a freshman since Dontrell at running back, which is awesome, living up to that 22 number. As Aaron gets bigger and stronger, some of those runs are going to turn into more explosive runs, but he's really grown as a true freshman. It's fun to see.
You talked about trying to play keep away and keep the defense from having to play too many plays, but that prolific Fresno State offense, Jay Kaner, and then of course their tailbacks, they were able to get some things done.
They were. I mean, they were 10-17 on third down, which was the biggest disappointment. And then we've got to be a little bit better out on the perimeter. I mean, we've got to be able to catch tackle instead of letting them get extra yards. And really, a lot of those catch tackles should be PBUs. And as we get more comfortable with our technique, we'll get better at it. But we're just a work in progress still, obviously.
When you talk about being more comfortable with the technique, is it being able to break quicker, make the read quicker, and get to the spot earlier? What's the difference maker?
Our guys know their speed. They know how fast we are or how fast we aren't. So they almost have to be perfect in coverage. And sometimes when you're worried somebody's going to run by you, you give them a little bit more cushion. And then it creates space and it makes the tackles harder. So they've got to understand when they get a chance to cut somebody off, they can cut them off. And if they play with the right technique, it doesn't matter if you're 4-7 or 4-4. Now, obviously, 4-4 helps, but you can still be a good player at 4-7 if that's what you are.
Just a couple of completions in the game, and you've talked about you need some balance to be a good football team on offense. What do you think it'll take to get a little bit of a pass game going here the final 2 weeks?
Well, we have to hit the wide open receivers when we have them. We missed a couple of big-time plays that would have been touchdowns. And then, obviously, it comes down to running the ball. We've got to run the ball better so that we're more of a threat, and then those things become even more wide open. And with what we do, that's what we have to do.
You did. You had the freshman Keontae Lanier running free a couple of times, one ball underthrown, another overthrown. Those are the big play opportunities you're talking about.
They are, and then they can be touchdowns if we put the ball in the money. The last one, I think Isaiah wasn't sure he could get it that far and threw it with everything he had, and he overthrew him. So it's getting used to where we're at on the field and just putting the ball, connecting the dots.
You had a brand new tailback, Peyton Dixon, get some run. What did you think?
I thought he did okay for first game. We've gone through the whole season trying to get him eligible, and he is finally. I thought he did a couple nice things on kickoff return, and when he touched the ball on offense, he was productive.
Amazing to think this, Coach G's second year. Each year, a true freshman starting at the Lobo backer position. For the first time as a true freshman, because of injury to Tavian Combs, Ronald Wilson gets a chance in that crucial spot. How did he perform?
I thought Ronald did a great job. I mean, we asked him to go in there and play with the 300-pounders as a true freshman. And for a guy to go in there without any game experience and play as well as he did, I mean, it speaks volumes for what he is and how he's going to be in the future.
All right, when we come back on the other side of this first time out, first half highlights of the Lobos and Fresno State. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back with Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzales on your Lobo Coaches Show. It's time to get into first half highlights of the Lobos and Fresno State on the road in Fresno.
Well, we won the toss again. I mean, we're getting good at that. Obviously, we need to put points on the board to make it count. I thought Luke's doing a really good job. You can tell he's a little bit slowed up and beat up a little bit from all the hits he's taken this year, but he's still very productive.
You know, you've taken the football every time you've won the toss. Is that something you're going to just keep doing?
Over a series of time, you actually gain more possessions if you take it early, better than deferring. And there's a lot of people that don't believe in it, but it's been very successful for us over the years. This one right here hurt. I didn't agree with the call. They called a late hit on Jarrett. A lot of times the referees, instead of blowing the whistle, will yell, whoa, 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 and I don't understand that, but they called it, we live with it, and we got to keep them out of the end zone regardless of what the situation is.
Did you expect as much wildcat as they got into here earlier in the game?
Did not. It didn't really hurt us. I mean, this one, obviously, they got outside. They didn't get any big plays out of it like they normally do, so I wasn't expecting it, and obviously they thought they had to do something special to get around us.
This one, obviously, a third down play, and you run a really nice play, but you got somebody downfield illegally.
And that's a tough one. I mean, they gave the offensive lineman a 3-yard disparity to be downfield, and we must have been over it a little bit, in their opinion, so they called it.
Give Jarek Reed his props. Nice tackle there in special teams.
Really good job in the punt coverage. I mean, they had one big punt return that got called back on a penalty, which was a little bit disappointing in the coverage, but other than that, I thought they did a really nice job, both Aaron kicking it and covering the football.
Your defense gets off the field right here.
We did a nice job, and you could tell that Jordan Mims was a little bit worried that Ray was going to hit him when he went to jump up in the air and dropped it. We were okay in the first quarter getting off the field on third down. It was the remainder of the game that I didn't like very much. Now, we were okay in the fourth quarter. Here's a big run by Aaron. 63 yards. They run him down a little bit. This is what we're missing right now, the home run hitter. I mean, we can get a big play like this, and then we've got to turn this into something, whether we get another first down or put it in the end zone, or we've got to make a field goal when we have an opportunity. But what a great run right there. The guys up front did a good job blocking, and Aaron with a 63-yard run.
And he runs through the first tackle at the point of attack. Doesn't even look fazed by it. But the problem is that after you get down there, a couple of negative plays here in succession.
We did, and there's one of the ones I was talking about. We pitched it a little bit too soon. Same thing right here. This one we missed a perimeter block, and we can't miss perimeter blocks because those guys now, they have a lot of space to make them get a tackle for loss in the backfield. And then Andrew's got to put that kick in the pipes. I mean, it was one that he can make, and we got to put it through.
Longer than it might otherwise have been, but for the negative plays. Now, the screenplay, it was a big part of what they did in this game.
It was. They had 3 of them that worked really well on us, one for a touchdown, one for about a 70-yard play. There's an over route right there. We've got to execute better. We had a couple of really good defenses called for those screenplays, and we didn't do it, so we got to coach them better to make sure that they know how to do it.
And we talked about Peyton Dixon in our open. Here he is on special teams.
Yeah, and there's right there running up the back of one of his blockers right there. A little bit more patience, and there was a couple seams. And there's one later that he runs. He kind of trips up and over his own feet there on the turf that got him down. But he's going to be a good player for us. He's going to help us out.
What about the way the triple operated? I know you mentioned that if Isaiah had been a little healthier, that would have helped.
It would have helped significantly because then he could get the ball out to the perimeter a little bit faster. And then Aaron had a couple opportunities. I mean, he did a great job with his almost 50 yards rushing. There was a couple opportunities that if he can make a corner miss or run through a tackle, he's going to have some explosive plays, which as he gets bigger and stronger in the weight room over his time, those plays will happen. I thought we did a pretty good job of stopping the run. They still didn't get to 100 yards rushing. They got to 300 yards passing, which we need to do a better job. Like right here, I mean, TC's got to make that play, and if he holds on to him as Kelly fumbles right there, we might have a chance to get it ourselves.
Exactly right. If he holds on, the ball is out, and there's a chance for a sudden change.
This one right here was a really close spot. I thought they gave him more than he got, but I mean, it was going to be a first down anyway. We had an opportunity right there to get off the field on third down. Ronald made a mistake at Lobo. When he comes off the edge, he should be square, shuffling, and make sure the quarterback hands it off. He pulled it on us and beats to the outside for a couple yards, and that's all they needed.
Ray Leatele into the backfield for a sack right there. Another good game for Ray.
Really good job. I mean, he was both in the run game and in the pass game. He was productive. He's a bright spot. He's going to be really good in the next 2 years.
What about the way that that formation that you used on occasion with the ends down and then walking people up to the line of scrimmage there in the middle? As
we watched the game on Sunday, we probably should have used it a little bit more. They had a really hard time blocking it. We got a lot of pressure out of it. It was probably pretty good, but we had Omar in there, Omar Darmay, who doesn't have a whole lot of playing experience. He showed some good things, so there's a chance that he could get some reps at linebacker this week. And then they got lucky right here. I mean, it bounces off the crossbar and it goes in, and it gives them a 24-0 lead at halftime. And we've got to be able to keep them from being able to kick field goals.
The career-long field goal there for him just barely ekes over the crossbar. What about the tackling overall in the game from your defense? Happy with it?
Not as happy as I should be with the second and third guy in. The tackling at the point of attack is okay. I'm not worried about those guys running up there and taking shots and missing. If they take shots and miss and we're running hard enough to the ball, the second and third guy is in is going to have a chance to really get a big hit on them. So we need to continue with the effort getting better. but the point of attack, we're doing okay.
All right, let's take a timeout. We come back on the other side. We have second half highlights of the Lobos in Fresno. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back with Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzales. It's time to take a peek at second half highlights of the Lobos and Fresno State at Bulldog Stadium.
We made a couple adjustments at halftime. We came out, did a pretty nice, we got called for pass interference a little bit earlier on this drive. We kept them out of the end zone for the most part in the second half. The score, if you look at the score by halves, it was 10-7. There's a nice play by Jarek Reed. Got an opportunity to make that a great play if he can catch it. Now they did get an early field goal. So here we are, 27-0. We get an opportunity to get back in the game, and this is going to be a good drive right here by the offense.
And more great work from Aaron Dumas, and there's what you've talked about, the what if, so close to a big play.
Yeah, that's one of those I'm talking about. If he gets a little bit bigger and stronger, he's going to be able to break that tackle, and then it'll be an explosive play. But that comes with getting in the weight room and experience and all those things that we're missing in a lot of positions right now. But I thought Aaron did a great job on Saturday running downhill and making extra yards.
Yeah, on this drive you can see him dragging tacklers through the hole on a couple of occasions. So yes, can get stronger, but obviously already strong as a true freshman. There's some more work for Peyton Dixon as he gets a couple of carries here back.
And there's another example right there of an arm tackle that if we can break, we've got an explosive play coming right out of the way. Now this was a really nice job. We did a nice job. We had Kyle Jarvis open right here. Now, Isaiah made a throw in there into coverage. We had a guy open, but it was a late hit on the quarterback, so we get an opportunity to first down. This was a fourth down attempt, and at 27-0, I'm not punting the ball. But we're going to try and get back in the game and do what we can to make it happen.
Looked like it could have been targeting there, too.
They waved it off, and you know what? It was incidental targeting if it was, so I'm glad they waved it off because too many times guys are thrown out of games and they can't play anymore for stuff that doesn't happen on purpose. He wasn't being intent. What a great catch right here by Trace. Gets us down to the 1 yard line. And then, we've had trouble being in 1 yard situations on the season. And I thought the offensive line did a great job getting pushed right here and a good run by Aaron for a touchdown. Yeah,
we haven't had many walk-through touchdowns like that where you hit your head on the goalpost. Great job by the O-line. And you're right, Trace Bruckler, so athletic at the tight end position.
Really, really athletic. It causes a lot of matchup problems, both in coverage, and he's getting better at blocking, which is a really big plus. Really nice play by Sierra Riley right there for the sack. And then here's one of those screen plays. Justin Harris right there, 97. If we coach him better and we teach him right to do the technique, what we expect, that's going to be a tackle for loss. We can get back in the game, possibly at 27-14 if we can get the good field position and put it in on offense. Instead, it turns into a 78-yard gain for them. Now, Dante did a great job with effort getting him out of bounds so we get an opportunity to play defense again.
Yeah, Dante's showing some pretty good closing speed to get there and knock him out of bounds.
Another opportunity right here. The guy that's supposed to be covering the back picks himself by doing technique wrong at the line of scrimmage. Almost a great play by Corey Hightower right here. They reviewed this and determined that the ball was fumbled right before he crossed the goal line, so they gave him the touchdown. See here, right here, we got some good pressure with the four-man rush. Justin Harris is going to come from behind right here. Wishing he would have caused a fumble right there when the quarterback doesn't see him coming, but it gave us an opportunity to get off the field. They did a nice job.
Another screen set up here. This one a middle screen to the tight end. You guys are all over it.
I thought Devin Sanders did a good job recognizing it, blew up a block, and then was able to get in on the tackle. I thought Aaron did a nice job of kicking the ball again. I thought our punt coverage was really good. Now we got helped out right here by a clip. There was actually two clips on the play. They could have called either one. One of them had nothing to do with the play, which I'm surprised they called. The second one actually kept a guy from making a tackle. So I'm glad they called it. It helps out, but really disappointed that we allowed a guy to get all the way down in the end zone.
Once those punt returns get into an open field situation, what is your coverage team taught?
Well, the three guys in the shield, they've got to spread the field and collapse inside, and then everybody else has to make tackles in space. We don't break down. I believe in taking your shot, and if you take your shot, the pursuit will get the tackle. If you saw Ronald Wilson come off the edge right there, if he'd have done that on the third down earlier, we would have got to stop right there because Hayner wouldn't have kept the ball. But number 14 is doing a great job. There he is, the one we talked about playing the Lobo. run into the football, and those are the plays I talked about. You cause it on the ground. If you got enough white bodies around, we're going to intercept it, or we're going to recover the fumble.
And it's your playmaker, the guy that's been the stalwart for you on defense all season, Joey Noble, that pokes it out. He's unbelievable. That motor just never quits.
It's really good, and Devin Sanders made a great play on the center right there. Knocked it back, gave it some penetration, and then Joey made a good play. Here's one we talked about. We've got Tay running wide open for a touchdown. We got to connect those dots. We got to get him the ball. Isaiah wasn't sure he could get it there, so he threw it as far as he could, and he actually overthrew him.
Do you think that was a result of the one that was underthrown earlier?
A little bit. I think it has to do with it. When you are having a little bit of consistency problems connecting the ball, we don't throw it a whole lot, so he doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but that probably had something to do with it.
I think Corey Hightower gets more and more explosive at his position on the corner every week. Now, yes, he could be a step faster, but that play that he made there on that wide receiver screen, outstanding.
A great play. Corey's doing a lot of things really well. He's getting better at fitting the run, coming up, being aggressive, and making tackles on the run, and then in coverage he's getting a lot better. I mean, he's had a couple. He had the one against UNLV, but for the most part, Corey's been really consistent.
And the consistent piece for you offensively throughout this game, from the opening whistle to the final horn, was the 22. Aaron Dumas was running hard between the tackles.
You know, Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Week, well-deserved, well-earned. The first guy barely ever got him down. Like I said, the only time we had issues on that was out on the corner. If he could make one guy miss, he's going to have probably 250 to 300 yards rushing on Saturday as opposed to the 150. There's the one we talked about. Isaiah had an opportunity, underthrew it right there. We've got to connect those dots, and we'll get better as we keep moving forward.
You know, one thing I look at too when a back has a day like Dumas had, 143 rush yards, is negative yards. There's only one. He moved the pile forward. There was only one negative play when he touched it. When you know that you're getting positive yardage, that's a good way to move the chains. He's become really reliable.
Oh, yes. I mean, we know we can give it to him, and he's going to get 3, 4, and 5 yards. And with what we do, you get 4 yards, you get first downs. And Aaron's really productive. I'm super proud of him. For a true freshman to play, and where you've seen him come from the first week to now, it's a great improvement.
I was going to ask you that. Not even just the first week of the season, but the first week back in the spring when he arrived, and you told us that it was moving pretty fast for him.
Oh, it does. It moves really fast for true freshmen. As you can see, some of our other true freshmen struggling with that. But Aaron, because he's played so much, and every week he's gotten better. Now it's his personality. He's driven, he's a leader, and he's going to be a special player around here.
Excited to see where 22 takes his career for the Lobos. Okay, time out. We come back, we wrap up this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back to close out this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show with the head football coach at UNM, Danny Gonzales. I'm Robert Portnoy. Coach G, it's time to go to Boise State, a team that early on in the year, they would say that they struggled, certainly at home. But they've sort of found their stride here in the second half of the year. And anytime you go to play on the blue, it's a tough assignment, isn't it?
It is tough. And if you consider losing to Central Florida on the road a struggle or Oklahoma State a struggle, that's a pretty good class to be in. That's who they are. I mean, they expect to win every single game. They're one of the premier programs in our league with San Diego State and Fresno State and the teams that have won championships here recently. So we've got a great challenge. And it's always fun to go play on the blue turf up in Boise. And obviously, in the series, we've only won one time and out of 10, so it's a great opportunity to go and compete.
Great opportunity to go and compete. And I actually think back to my first visit to Boise. It was a late November date. It was freezing. The Lobos were dealing with injury, and it was a really tall order. There are a lot of similarities as the Lobos go in the last week of the regular season this year. What about the resiliency of your team and the fight of your team in the face of adversity?
Well, I mean, that game could have got really ugly on Saturday if they're not willing to fight. I mean, like I said, if we broke it down to quarters, it was 24-0 in the first half, 10-7 in the second half. And I'll say this, they were trying to score. There was no doubt that they wanted to put as many points and yards as they can, which they're trying to build. Coach DeBoer is a great football coach. And Coach Davalos is Andy Avalos is a great football coach. He's a buddy of mine. We used to recruit together in the Inland Empire. So we've got a great task, and I mean, I'm excited for the opportunity to go up there and compete.
Coach is right about Fresno State trying to score. Yes, Jake Haener got to 300 yards, but it was right on the number. He's had days this year where he went for 455, for example, in one victory over a Power 5 team on the road, UCLA. I thought the defense performed admirably.
We did okay. We obviously didn't keep them out of the end zone enough. We gave up too many points. weren't good enough on third down, and we only had one turnover. We need more. We're getting better, though, defensively. We're getting better as a football team. I know the result on the score and the final score doesn't show it, but we're making improvements, and I knew year 2 was going to be hard. I'm not surprised by where we're at, but we're building in the right direction.
Well, another offense in Boise that likes to throw it around, and that guy Bachmeier can certainly do that. They want to score points, and lots of them. What about your defense and facing off with that offense?
Well, he's been hot as of late, and they've been playing really well. They've won 3 in a row. They've got a chance to play for the championship too. Now they need some help from either us or Wyoming to beat Utah State, but they're playing at a high level, and it's a great challenge. And I mean, I love going up there and playing. When I was at our previous school at San Diego State, we had a bunch of great battles up there. We've won up there, and much like the Lobos in 2015, it's a great opportunity.
Okay, so the Lobos have had issues with injury at quarterback, and obviously Isaiah Chavez wasn't 100% with his ankle last weekend. How healthy do you think he'll be, and is he the guy that's going to get it first when you take your first snap on Saturday?
He is. He will start. He looked a lot better today in treatment. Moved around okay yesterday. Obviously was sore. I think he'll be fine for Saturday. And then obviously I don't know if we talked about it yet, but we brought Bryson Carroll out of retirement, so he'll be available. We still have Connor Janal. We're going to redshirt C.J. Montez, so he won't play. And then Terry obviously is not playing. So Isaiah will be ready for the challenge.
Yeah, just a few seconds left, but in this format last week, we did talk about Bryson Carroll, who's back and active and wearing a jersey for you.
He is. He knows what he's doing. He looked okay in practice last week. We could have used him in an emergency situation, but he'll be ready this week if we need him.
And he's pretty fast, isn't he?
He's got a lot of speed, and he's familiar with running the triple option, so he could help us.
He certainly could help us. We'll see if he gets a chance against Boise State. Okay, that'll do it for us. For Chase Christensen, Frank Mercogliano, and head football coach Danny Gonzales, I'm Robert Portnoy. So long, everybody, and go Lobos.